Did the Cowboys just make one of the most unexpected defensive coordinator hires of the offseason? Bringing in Eagles secondary coach Christian Parker has instantly shocked fans and sparked heated debate. Some believe this is a smart, forward-thinking move that modernizes the Cowboys' defense, while others question trusting a rival's assistant with such a critical role. Why did Dallas look to Philadelphia, and what does this say about their long-term vision? One overlooked detail about Parker's background could explain everything, and it might change how fans feel about this hire very quickly. This just came down in Cowboys Nation. You might want to sit up for this one, because the Dallas Cowboys have officially made a move that absolutely nobody saw coming. In a surprise decision that's already lighting up social media, Dallas has hired Eagles secondary coach Christian Parker as their new defensive coordinator. Yes, you heard that right. A coach straight out of Philadelphia is now running the Cowboys defense, and if that doesn't immediately grab your attention, nothing will. This move isn't just unexpected, it's controversial, strategic, and potentially season-defining. The Cowboys are clearly signaling that business as usual is over, and whether you love it or hate it, this decision is about to reshape the identity of this defense in a major way. Let's start with the obvious shock factor. Dallas and Philadelphia don't share coaches lightly. This is one of the most bitter rivalries in sports, and the idea of plucking a key defensive mind from the Eagles staff feels almost illegal. But that's exactly why this hire matters so much. The Cowboys didn't just hire a defensive coordinator. They hired insight. They hired inside knowledge. They hired someone who knows exactly how the Eagles think, scheme, and attack. Christian Parker isn't a flashy household name yet, but make no mistake, this is a rising defensive mind in the NFL. He has been deeply involved in one of the league's most aggressive and versatile secondaries, and his fingerprints are all over the modern coverage concepts that have given elite quarterbacks problems over the past few seasons. Under Parker's influence in Philadelphia, defensive backs were coached to be physical, disciplined, and aggressive without losing leverage. The Eagles' secondary became known for disguising coverages, baiting quarterbacks, and capitalizing on hesitation. That's not accidental. That's coaching. Now here's where things get really interesting. For years, Cowboys fans have complained about the same issues on defense. Soft coverage in big moments. Confusion pre-snap. Explosive plays allowed when the pressure doesn't get home. This hire directly targets those weaknesses. Parker's background suggests Dallas wants to evolve from a defense that relies heavily on individual talent to one that wins with structure, communication, and adaptability. And let's be real for a moment. The Cowboys have talent. Micah Parsons is a generational force. Trayvon Diggs is a ball hawk. Darren Bland just put together a historic interception season. This defense doesn't need more stars. It needs cohesion. It needs a system that maximizes what's already there, and that's exactly where Parker comes in. One of the biggest reasons this hire matters is how it could change Micah Parsons' role. Under previous systems, Micah has been used as a chaos weapon, lining up everywhere and overwhelming offenses with raw athleticism. But imagine Micah in a defense where the secondary holds up longer, disguises coverage better, and forces quarterbacks to hesitate just a split second longer. That's where sacks turn into strip sacks. That's where pressures turn into game-changing plays. Christian Parker's defenses emphasize trust between the front and the back end. Corners aren't panicking because they know where their help is. Safeties aren't guessing because the communication is drilled into muscle memory. That allows pass rushers to attack without hesitation. If this clicks, Micah Parsons could have his most dominant season yet. But of course, not everyone is celebrating. Some fans are furious. Hiring an Eagles coach feels like betrayal to parts of Cowboys Nation. There's fear that Philly's system won't translate. There's concern about loyalty. There's skepticism about whether Parker is ready to command an entire defense rather than just a position group. And those concerns are fair. This is a gamble. Parker hasn't called plays at the NFL level as a full defensive coordinator before. The jump from secondary coach to DC is massive. You're no longer just developing players, you're managing personalities, game plans, halftime adjustments, and the pressure of being blamed when things go wrong. But here's the counterpoint. The Cowboys didn't need another recycled name. They didn't need another coordinator who runs the same system everyone has already figured out. They needed fresh thinking. They needed someone who understands where the league is going, not where it's been. This hire screams modern NFL. It screams adaptability. It screams data-driven, matchup-based football. And most importantly, it shows that the Cowboys front office is willing to take risks to break out of the same playoff disappointments we've seen year after year. Another layer to this move is how it impacts the NFC East. Christian Parker now brings intimate knowledge of the Eagles' offensive tendencies, protection schemes, and route concepts. That alone could be worth its weight in gold. When Dallas faces Philadelphia, Parker will know exactly what those receivers like to do in critical situations. He'll know how Jalen Hurts processes certain coverages. That chess match just got very personal. And don't overlook the locker room effect. A new defensive coordinator always changes the energy. Veterans suddenly have to prove themselves again. Young players see opportunity. Competition increases. Accountability tightens. This is a reset button for a defense that, despite strong regular seasons, hasn't delivered when it mattered most. Training camp is going to be fascinating. Watch how corners line up. Watch how safeties rotate. Watch how often Dallas disguises blitzes. These are the subtle changes that tell you whether Parker's philosophy is taking hold. If you start seeing quarterbacks hesitate, check the ball down more often, or force throws into coverage, you'll know something is working. This also raises a massive question about the Cowboys' overall direction. This hire suggests that Dallas is prioritizing defense as the foundation of their identity. In a conference loaded with elite quarterbacks, that's not a bad strategy. If the Cowboys can become a defense that travels, that forces turnovers, and that closes games, everything else becomes easier. Now let's talk expectations. This move will be judged brutally. One bad game against the Eagles and the noise will be deafening. One playoff failure, and the criticism will be relentless. That's the price of coaching in Dallas. But if Parker succeeds, if he turns this defense into a disciplined, aggressive, playoff-ready unit, he could quickly become one of the most respected young coordinators in the league. And yes, there's also the possibility that this is a stepping stone. If Parker thrives, he could eventually become a head coaching candidate. That's how the NFL works. Dallas may have just invested in a future star. The bottom line is this. The Cowboys didn't make a safe move. They made a bold one. They crossed rivalry lines. They trusted upside over comfort. And whether this ends in glory or disaster, one thing is certain. The Cowboys' defense will not look the same. This is a statement hire. This is a risk with purpose. And this is the kind of move that tells you the Cowboys are tired of being predictable. Cowboys Nation, the question now is simple. Do you believe this is the missing piece, or another gamble that blows up? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is just getting started. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe for daily Cowboys news, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breaking update. This offseason is already heating up, and trust me, this won't be the last surprise we see from Dallas.